Hello, here you find me in front of the new AK foil range. In this vid, I hope to give you a general overview to show you some of the tech and give you an idea of what all the different models do and feel like underfoot. I've been riding this range on and off since it was released, and although the range is massive, I think to date 12 front wings and 5 rear wings, I've tried nearly all of them personally, as well as using one of them as my go-to foil when I'm not testing other stuff. Like I said, with all the wing variants, plus the 2 fuselage lengths and carbon and alloy mass in all their different sizes, and I think 5 different rear stabs now, it all sounds like a bit of a headache, but in truth, I've found an unusually high degree of cross-compatibility throughout the range. And the design seems to be very tolerant of mismatches, which makes it possible to build a lot of capability into a very small amount of kit. Right, let's start with some of these front wings then. This is the Trek. It's the meatiest and easiest of all the wings and comes in a number of different sizes from 2000 down. They're really smooth, progressive and super easy in foiling, making foiling as simple as it can be for those getting into the sport. It's one of the most popular first-time foils in the UK right now. They're finished in a matte black, and though made in carbon, they're coming in at a price point, so they do away with the fancy clear top coat to keep the costings down, even though, to be fair, they are made with the same materials as the rest of the foils. Then we have the Tracer, which is a higher aspect wing, and these are a little bit flightier perhaps, but more efficient and faster top end, as well as retaining a fantastic degree of maneuverability. The carving, even on the bigger wings, is just absolutely stunning. And this is 1000, they go down to 850, which is kite foil size, and it's the real all-rounder of the range. You'll see too that they're finished in an exposed sort of carbon gloss, and the finish is what you would expect a full carbon product to be. The smaller wings are like little fighter jets, and you have a huge amount of carving potential, even with the longest of the fuselages. Lastly, we come to the high aspect plasmas. Now, these things are not as radical as they look. I've found them very easy, in fact. They are very efficient though, so the bigger sizes do ride larger than their area would suggest. The 1600 and 1300 are quite long, so they suffer more in rapid carving, although they drive extremely well, but they lose some of the looseness, I guess trading it for efficiency. That said, the power and the drive is impressive when you push, and so is the super efficient unpowered glide, so it's no surprise that they have really good prone pumping ability, especially in the 1600. Then you have this, the 1000 plasma. Now this is an absolute gem of a foil. For the size, it's insanely practical, and the reduced span makes it surprisingly lithe and nimble around corners. It gives a beautiful, fast-powered carving turn. The real surprise though is just how easy it is to use. You know, a small, high-aspect foil, all my experience tells me that it should not be what it is, but right now, it is the only thing I want to use for everything. It's fast, it's easy, it's stable, it's got range, and just a huge sense of fun. It is, I believe, the halo product of the range, and from where I sit, a very good reason to start using AK in the first place. As a beginner or an intermediate, this is ultimately, I think, where you'll end up, and as an expert, you'll gel with it straight out of the box. And it's a glorious and really fun, easy place to be. Now, on to stabilizers. 2 series, the Mustache and the Downwing. The downwings are more efficient, but have less of a vertical component, so they feel a bit looser in yaw. Not especially loose in the grand scheme of things, and this is my chosen stab here, the 300 downwing, but in truth, I find it very, very easy to ride. The Mustache series, by comparison, has a more vertical component, so more yaw stability, and they do make the foils easier to use. They are a teeny bit less efficient, and you can't yaw the high aspect foils around as much as you can with the downwing, which can be handy, but generally, these Mustache wings are the favourite among general riders. Interestingly, the stabs are almost even in profile, top and bottom. They're very neutral and forgiving. I guess they match the profile of the front wings really well, balancing evenly right through the foil's speed range. Size-wise, the smaller stabs offer less power and more efficiency, but most tend to learn on the 340 Mustache here and graduate down to the 300s in time. Leading on to fuselage chat, these stabs have a specialized mounting point on them, which allows you to adjust the angle of the stab, and this is where things get really clever. On the fuselage, you'll see that the stab mounting is a cam that allows you to adjust the power of the stab on the fly. Now, it's a bit of genius this, if I may say so. By sliding the rear stab forwards and back like this, you can alter how much power it has. Now, this changes the balance of the foil, meaning it takes the balance point from positive pressure on the back leg to positive pressure on the front leg. AK hydrofoils are not just designed for wind sports, but also for surfing and kite foiling, all on the same chassis. And the truth is that the sports and how you ride the foils are all very different. Adjustable rear wing angles allow you to easily account for this and trim how you want the foil to ride for each specific discipline, as well as your own personal riding style. More than that, it lets you chop and change the front wings without having to rebalance them with a different stabilizer every time. You can tuck an Allen key in your wetsuit and you can change it quickly and simply out on the water. You'd be surprised just how much difference it actually makes. One thing I have learned is that all riders have a different view of what is optimum for them. There is no right and wrong, and this system allows you to hit your sweet spot quickly and easily. The fuselage is available in two lengths, 71 and 61, though I hear there is a mid-range fuselage coming in the near future. All the setups are very, very good around corners, even on the longest fuselage, so most tend to side with this. Of course, the longer fuselage gives you the greatest pitch stability, and the shorter fuselage does liven things up quite a bit, but at a cost, which, as any good foiler knows, is a balance they have to weigh for themselves. Another point of note, you probably notice on the bottom of this wing, it's not fresh out of the box. This has in fact been used by me rather hastily in some rocky environments, and these front wings are insanely strong. I'm not joking, I've smashed this thing into a couple of proper solid rocks and gone fully over the handlebars a number of times. And aside from a little bit of a tension with 1200 wet and dry, I have not been out with the filler so far, so they really are extremely durable, as the brand name would suggest. On then to the masts. The alloy masts have been through a retool a few years ago, and the new profile is extremely stiff and solid, and they're pretty efficient too. They're well regarded even up to the longest 95 centimeter lengths. We've had zero strength issues or warranty problems so far. The carbon masts, now these are the premium. They offer more stiffness, less weight, and the thinnest profile. I use the 105 constantly. It does make me feel like a bit of a hero when I start to push, even if I know that I'm probably cheating a little. The only other thing to mention is that the wings all come with covers, as does the carbon mast. Also, the foils are listed and sold, certainly in the UK, on a component by component basis, meaning that you can specify the exact combination of the components that you want. A breakdown of the recommended sizes and suitable combinations is available on the AK Durable Supply Co. website. It's a really good reference to the designer's recommended settings. But in truth, the range is a lot more tolerant than most when you start to mix things up outside those guidelines. So there you have a very brief rundown of the AK foil range. I know for a fact that the system is staying the same for the foreseeable future, so there is a great deal of forwards and backward compatibility too. The pricing here in the UK is such that you don't get penalised for buying it a bit at a time compared to a full package. It's logical and only fair in my view. It encourages you to expand your quiver as your riding progresses, which is what this sport is all about in my view anyway. We do really rate the setup, and I use it personally. It's had a very impressive level of feedback, but it's simple, it's easy, and most importantly, faff-free, which is exactly what you need if your time on the water is limited. I hope this has been of help. Please do let us know in the comments if you have any further questions.